I do not ever want to see your face again. That is what my mother said to me, clear as day, right in the middle of a family video call. I looked straight into the camera and said, then you will not be seeing another dime from me. And that was it. I went ahead and shut down every single account they were living off: mortgage, tuition, groceries, gone. When I woke up the next morning, something was different. I felt lighter, like a heavy weight had been lifted off my back. Let me tell you how things got to that point. I am 33 years old now. For almost 10 years, I have been the one carrying the load for my entire family, and I never really said much about it. After my dad lost his job during that big crash back in 2008, things started falling apart for my folks. Missed bills, mortgage payments stacking up. Somebody had to step up, and that somebody turned out to be me. I was just 22 at the time. While most of my buddies were out chasing dreams, traveling, or blowing their paychecks on concerts and overpriced drinks, I was wiring money home. It started off small, just covering groceries now and then. But before long, I was paying their mortgage, covering my brother Caleb's college tuition, shelling out money for Lena's cheerleading squad, and sending my mom what she liked to call her monthly allowance. She would send me a message, something like, "Short this week, can you help?" And I always helped. Every time. No questions asked. But nobody ever asked how I was holding up. No one ever said thank you. Instead, I got nothing but criticism. My mom gave me grief for not going to church anymore. My dad said my job in marketing was not real work. Caleb cracked jokes about my small apartment, like I should be ashamed. Lena got upset that I did not come home every weekend, acting like it was personal, never mind the fact that I was paying the mortgage on the house she wanted me to visit. Then last Friday, everything hit the fan. We were on what was supposed to be a regular family Zoom call. I was talking about Lena's fall semester fees and mentioned that my rent had gone up again. I gently said I might need to cut back on the money I send. That is when my mom leaned toward the camera and said it, "We do not want to see your face anymore." And then she hung up. I just sat there, staring at the screen. It went black. I could not believe it. I tried sending her a message. It bounced back. I had been blocked. I checked my inbox. Nothing from my dad. Not a word from Caleb. Nothing from Lena either. They shut me out like I was a stranger who had failed them. And you know what? I did not cry. I did not even get mad. I just felt, still, like something had finally settled. I wrote one last message. Told them they would not be getting another penny from me. Then I rolled up my sleeves, not for my job, but to start pulling the plug on every dollar I was sending their way. It is strange how quickly everything can fall apart when you are the one who built it all in the first place. That morning, I made myself a fresh cup of coffee and sat down at the kitchen table with my laptop. No panic. No last-minute transfers. No stressing about whether I could afford food after helping everyone else. Just peace. A kind of quiet that felt like I had earned it. I started with the house. My name was not even on the deed, but I had been making those payments like clockwork. I logged into the bank. 2 clicks later, it was done. I even called the bank to confirm it, just to be sure. I officially shut off the automatic withdrawals. One by one, they were gone. After that, I moved on to the shared bank account I had opened for my mother. At the time, I told myself it was so she could feel like she had her own financial freedom. Truth was, it gave her full access to my money, all day, every day. I drained the account, then closed it down for good. The bank clerk on the line asked me why I was shutting it down. I stopped for a second. Then I typed in 2 words, breach of trust. Next, I logged into Caleb's college account. It was still tied to my email. I went straight to the billing section and removed my card information. Then I left a note in the payment field. I am no longer responsible for tuition. I cannot describe how good that felt. After that, I just kept going down the list. Canceled the payments for their power and water bills. Ended the grocery delivery subscription. Even reached out to the landlord they were renting from. I told him straight, "Hey there, I will not be covering rent anymore. You will need to speak with the tenants directly." There was this awkward little silence. Then he said, "Understood." And that was it. No fireworks. No begging or long conversations. Just a clean break. It blew my mind how easy it was to pull myself out of their finances. It felt like clearing out old files from your computer once you forgot we're even there. For the first time in years, I was not worried about making rent or checking my balance every morning. I was just breathing. I figured they would not notice right away. But I was wrong. The quiet only lasted a few hours. That same evening, I was finishing up dinner. Just something plain and simple for myself. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go. Then another call came in. Then 2 text messages, one after the other. Caleb's payment bounced. Your mom is freaking out. Call her. No names. No hello. Just straight up orders, like nothing had changed at all. Then another message came through from a number I did not recognize. But the second I read it, I knew exactly who it was. It was Aunt Sophia. I guess Mom had gone and dragged her into the mess. The message said, "Whatever is going on, your mother says you are being unreasonable. Can we talk about this?" I did not respond. Not a word. By the time the sun came up, my phone had blown up. Call after call. Most were blocked or restricted numbers. One of them left a voicemail. It was Lena. Her voice was quiet, shaky. Not her usual sharp tone. "I am not mad," she whispered. "I promise. I cannot get through to anybody." The college called. They said there is a balance due, and they are about to remove me from enrollment. Can you please get in touch with Mom? She is not acting like herself. No guilt trips. No finger pointing. Just crying. And I will admit, Lena's message got to me. It hit a sore spot. But still, I did not respond. Not because I did not care, just because I had spent too many years pouring my heart out until there was nothing left in the tank. Next, Mom made another attempt. This time, she used someone else's phone. First came a text. "Please, let's stop this. Let's reconnect as family." About a minute later, the phone rang. It was her. I let it go to voicemail. She did not sound angry, not completely. Her voice was calmer than usual, almost like she was trying to sound humble. But underneath it all, there was still that same old pride. She said, "You have made yourself clear. We get it. But this is not how family should act. We are not perfect, but we have always stood together. What do you expect me to say? Are you waiting for me to beg?" Still no apology. No ownership of what she said. No sign she understood that she crossed a line. She just sounded like someone used to being in control, only now the control was gone. They had not lost a son. They had lost their bank account. That was the real sting for them. You might think it would get easier to ignore their messages over time, but it actually got harder in a strange way. Their tone started changing. First came the begging, then the blaming. And after that, they started rewriting history. Caleb sent me this long, over-the-top message claiming I had always made it about money. He said he never really asked for anything, as if I had not quietly paid for 4 full years of his college tuition, like I was on autopay for some streaming service. Then Lena jumped in, saying, "I wish it did not have to end like this, like I had just disappeared one night for no reason at all." The final straw was a voice message from Mom. I only listened to it once. That was all I needed. "You think we took advantage of you," she said. "That is not true. We leaned on you because we thought you wanted to help. You never said no. You were always there. You were the strong one." And in a messed up way, she was right. I was always there. But even the strongest person runs out of strength eventually. When folks only come around when they need something, that is not love. That is not family. That is a transaction. So I cut it off for good. I blocked every new number that popped up, locked down all my bank accounts, left the family group chat with one quiet click. No dramatic goodbye. No public post. No revenge. I just disappeared from their financial world. And what is wild is how quickly people stop seeing you once the money is gone. It is like I was never there. By the end of the week, the phone stopped buzzing. The text faded out. And the silence they left behind? It did not feel like heartbreak. It felt like air in my lungs. Like I had space to breathe. Like I had finally made room to think about my future for once, without guilt dragging it down. That is when it really hit me. I was not just finished being their source of cash. I was done being their backup plan, their easy answer. The next morning, after I blocked the last number, I slept right through sunrise. Not because I was lazy, just because, for the first time in years, I had no obligations. No one waiting on me to fix something. Just peace. No buzzing phone. No pings from the bank. No checklist of who needed what and when. Just the sun rising through my window. I got up and made myself a real cup of coffee. None of that cheap instant stuff I used to drink while pinching pennies to keep their lights on. I sat at the kitchen table and something strange hit me. This money? It is mine now. I opened my laptop, pulled up the budget app one used to treat like a war zone, and started looking through the numbers. For once, they were mine to shape. I grabbed a pen and scribbled down all the dreams I had shelved over the years. One day, I'll travel. Someday, I'll start my own thing. Eventually, I'll spend on myself. First thing I did? I bought a plane ticket. Cancun. No layovers. Window seat. I did not tell a soul. I did not need approval. No one had the right to be disappointed in me anymore. Next, I scheduled a meeting with a business coach. For years, I had been sitting on this idea, starting a design studio that helps small creators with their branding. I had been pouring myself into other people's dreams for so long, I almost forgot I had my own. By noon that day, I had done more for myself than I had in the last 5 years combined. No alerts, no ringing, no guilt, just release. And it felt exactly like that first sip of good coffee, deep, earned, and honest. But cutting off the phone numbers and shutting down the accounts did not wipe out the memories. They came back in quiet ways, like background noise you only hear when everything else is still. Sometimes I would be out walking, and I would remember how Mom always texted me right at 9 o'clock in the morning on Sundays. Did the transfer go through? No greeting, no warmth, just another cold demand. Or I would be standing in the grocery store, reaching for a nice block of cheese, and suddenly freeze, like my brain had been trained to feel guilty over small pleasures. I remembered my dad's comment once when I bought a clearance rack jacket. Must be nice. Looks like the rest of us just suffer. They did not want kindness. They wanted control. That slow, sneaky kind, the kind that weaves itself into your identity and makes you think it is love. Those first few weeks were louder in my head than I expected. Because for the first time in a long time, I had to ask myself, who am I if nobody needs me? And I did not really have the answer. Not yet, anyway. But I had started digging for it. I went to a museum by myself. I bought a fresh notebook. I picked up a pencil and started sketching again. Small pieces of who I used to be started coming back, parts wanted boxed up while I was busy patching everyone else's cracks. Sometimes I would still unlock my phone out of habit, expecting one last blocked number to sneak through. But nothing ever did. Maybe they gave up. Or maybe, for the first time, they believed me when I said I was done. There is a certain kind of sadness that does not come from missing people, but from realizing how much of yourself you gave up trying to keep them happy. Here's the truth. For nearly 10 years, I drifted through life like a shadow. I moved to new places, not to grow or explore, but because being far away made it easier to send money without questions. I worked the night shift, not because I liked it, but so I could afford Caleb's textbooks. I stayed single not because I wanted to, but because I could not imagine building something real when everything around me was borrowed, temporary, not mine. I was so busy financing everyone else's blueprint, I never laid my own foundation. But after I finally cut the cord, I started piecing it all back together, not just financially, but emotionally too. I opened an old drawer and found a dusty notebook I had not seen in years. Inside, there were scraps of old dreams. One page had a line that stopped me in my tracks. I want to build a place where people can create freely, bright, cozy, a little messy, but completely real. I must have written that in a coffee shop after a long shift, during a time when hope still felt like a possibility, when I still believed my own dreams could matter. That idea to start a creative agency had not died. It was just buried, hidden under piles of reasons and delays. Maybe after Caleb graduates. Maybe once Mom's car breaks down. No more putting things off. No more pouring my energy into a bottomless pit that never once gave anything back, not thanks, not care, not even basic kindness. I reached out to a local real estate agent to ask about available studio spaces. I signed up for a startup course. And I messaged a few people I had fallen out of touch with, not family, but friends I had pushed away because they just could not understand the weight I had been carrying for so long. And this time, I was honest. I told them the straight truth. I'm finally working on something for myself. The replies came back quick. One said, "It's about time." Another wrote, "I thought you had just disappeared." But I hadn't disappeared. I'd been buried. Buried under bills, under guilt, under expectations. And now, I was finally pulling myself up for air. Sure, there were hard nights. Times I just lay there, still and wide awake, wondering if I had made the wrong call. There were moments where I did not even miss the people. I missed the idea of family. But those thoughts? They did not own me anymore. What defined me now was the quiet, free from pressure, free from being needed all the time. Watching my bank account finally grow. Scribbling into that notebook again, page after page, without asking for permission, without feeling ashamed. About 2 weeks passed with complete silence. Then they tried something new. This time it was not loud. It was quiet, careful, wrapped in sweetness. A kind of emotional trick disguised as concern. I got a notification on social media. A cousin I had not spoken to in ages sent me a message. "Hey, just checking in. Your mom said you've been quiet lately. She's worried. Everything okay? I stared at the message for a long while. Been quiet, not cut contact. Not a word about the way they treated me. Just a soft little nudge that made it sound like I had vanished without reason. Like all those years of sacrifice never happened. I said nothing. 2 days later, my dad sent me something unexpected, an email. He almost never writes emails. It was short. Whatever's going on with your mother, we can work it out. You've made your point. Don't let pride tear the family apart. I read it over and over again. I did not get mad. I did not feel sad. I just felt tired. That same deep, familiar tired I always felt after dealing with them. This was how things had always worked in our house. Keep smiling, pretend everything's normal, sweep the mess under the rug. Say you've made your point, like I had lost my temper, instead of walking away after a decade of being used. And then the last piece landed. A voice message from Lena. I know you think we used you, she said. And maybe we did. I really don't know anymore. I'm not mad. I'm just tired. I didn't ask for this. But she was wrong. Maybe they never came right out and said it, but they all leaned on me. Heavily. They expected me to always say yes. To show up. To pay for it. To fix it. To never complain. To stay small. To stay quiet. So when I finally stopped playing the part, they were not hurt because they lost me. They were hurt because they lost the one person who always made things easier for them. Deep down, I think they knew it. I did not walk away out of hatred. I did not leave because I was angry. I walked because I finally saw things clearly. And I could not keep pretending I did not. That same week, I made my first payment toward a new workspace. It was not fancy. It was not even fully set up yet. But it was mine. The ceiling had exposed pipes, the floor tilted in spots, and the windows creaked every time the wind blew. But when the sunlight hit the back room in the late afternoon, it felt like peace. Real peace. The kind I had not felt in years. I signed the lease papers with steady hands. This place was mine. Not borrowed, not shared, not something I had to give up so someone else could be comfortable. I grabbed a roller and painted the walls myself. Went with clean white all around, except one big wall I painted green. It gave the whole place a kind of energy. I set up a large table in the center and gathered chairs that did not match but felt right. A friend brought over a stack of design books. Another stopped by to help me put up shelves. I did not post anything about it. I did not announce it to the world. I just opened the door, sat down in that space, and took a deep breath. And sometimes, when the quiet settled in, I could still hear old voices in my head. Why don't you visit more? Lena needs money for school. You know your mother struggles. That job isn't real, but at least you're earning something. Now, those voices sound like echoes from a past life. They do not carry weight anymore. They do not control me. I am not their walking bank account. I am not their emergency contact when the groceries run low or the bills stack up. I am just me. And for the first time, that is enough. I was walking home from my studio, yes, my studio, when my phone lit up. It was a number I did not recognize. I had not blocked it, just had no clue who it belonged to. I stared at it for a second longer than I should have. Curiosity got the best of me. I picked up. Hey, came Lena's voice. Low, tired. They want to meet up. Just dinner. Just to talk. She paused, then added, I told them I'd ask you first. There was silence. Not pressure. Just quiet, like she was used to being put on hold. I think they really miss you now, she added. I did not answer right away. I let the silence hang between us for a moment. Then I asked, did anyone apologize? She sighed. No. They just said they want to move on. A small smile tried to form on my face. There it was. No apology. No ownership. Just a plan to skip the truth and jump straight into pretending like none of it happened. I'm not going, I said. Why? She asked, her voice a little shaky. Not mad. Just confused. Maybe even scared. Like she had finally realized I had meant every word I said. Because starting over without admitting the hurt is not healing, it is denial. And I was done pretending. That chapter of my life had closed. After a moment, she said softly, all right, I guess I'll see you around. I didn't respond. We both knew she probably wouldn't. The weeks that followed were still quiet in a way I had never really experienced before. No surprise messages. No guilt-laced voicemails. No one reaching out, just to talk. It seemed like they had finally understood. I was not coming back. Not to fund their lives. Not to carry their shame. Not to pretend their silence had not hurt me. I had stepped out of their story for good. And what was left behind? Not sadness. It was calm. In that calm, I started doing things I had always put off. I hosted a class at my studio, just 5 people. A branding session for new artists. One of them landed their very first client. They sent me a thank you note. I pinned it to the wall. I had dinner with someone I had not seen in years, not because I did not care, but because back then, I did not believe I deserved someone who just wanted me. She laughed at my bad jokes. She listened to me talk about my work like it actually meant something. I told her everything. With honesty. I started saving money, not wiring it away, just saving it. I booked another trip, not to run from anything, but just to live. And every now and then, I catch myself looking at my phone. No missed calls. No demands. Just quiet. So this is what peace feels like. Freedom.